Welcome back here to the Hill on News Nation. 4 months later, and the devastation can still be felt in western North Carolina. Residents recounting what they experienced during Hurricane Helene to President Trump and how their lives have been affected since. Communities there have already lived through the unimaginable, but now survivors are facing a brutally cold winter, for some, without their homes, heat, and other basic necessities. Joining us live here on the Hill is the Congressman Chuck Edwards. He is a Republican who represents Asheville, was with the president today, I believe, traveled down with him in North Carolina. Congressman, thanks for being back with us here on the Hill. You were with the president today. He visited your community. What'd you tell him?
First of all, I told him that I was so grateful, and the people here in western North Carolina are so grateful that he kept his promise to us when he came here just a few days after Helene hit western North Carolina, and he told us that western North Carolina would not be forgotten. Today, he and I boarded Air Force One, and on his very first trip as president of this term, he brought that great big plane to western North Carolina and reminded us we were not forgotten.
What is the situation there? The last time we spoke, Congressman, you were telling me about folks who still have no idea what the future holds for them with housing. That was about 10 days ago. Tonight?
Tonight, there's still many folks out there that do not know where they're going to be living. Sometimes from day to day. We've got about 6,000 people staying in hotels for various reasons. And FEMA's communication has just been terrible in terms of the eligibility for them to stay there, to continue to stay there. And in some cases, FEMA has had the audacity to ask people to leave that hotel room inside of 24 hours notice.
So what about this idea from President Trump, if not wholesale changes at FEMA, what about the idea of potentially getting rid of it? Is that something that Republicans in Washington should pursue?
Well, it's certainly a conservative principle, an overriding conservative principle, to have less government. And I believe that that's what the president is suggesting here. I think that when we really sit down and start to put this on a whiteboard, we're going to realize that there are needs for some personnel in Washington, D.C. with FEMA, but we don't need 20,000 folks there to fail the people that they're serving. I believe we should more send the relief money to the states and leave it up to the governors to decide what is best to help their state recover.
I want to play for you something the president said today real quick.
When there's a problem with a state, I think that problem should be taken care of by the state. That's what we have states for. They take care of problems. And a governor can handle something very quickly.
Can your state, though, unilaterally handle a hurricane? I guess is part of the question and part of the conversation.
Well, I'd like to add that the president just paraphrased the 10th Amendment. It should be the state's responsibility. And there are states, let's admit, there are states that might not have the experience that are necessary to deal with major disasters. That's why there should be maybe a very slim set of personnel in Washington, D.C. to give them the advice and the backing when it is necessary. I also believe that states, knowing that it would become their responsibility, would be far better prepared for the next natural disaster, because now they're trained to sit back on their heels and wait for the federal government to come in. And we've seen what a miserable failure that has been through this disaster.
Chuck Edwards is the congressman from Asheville with the president today on stop number 1. Thank you for being with us once again tonight here on the Hill. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.